life on paper looked fabulous, right? I had this great earning. I owned several pieces of real estate. I drove a sports car, traveled all over the world, but I just didn't feel fulfilled. I just felt like I wasn't living my purpose. I was really unhappy. And at 30, I called my quarter life crisis. I made another pivot and decided to do everything that would get me back into the wellness space, focusing on my passion for movement and teaching all of the modalities.
Today's guest is Hollis Tuttle, a nutrition and fitness coach and the founder of House of Hustle. Originally from Northern California, she now coaches clients worldwide through digital platforms and also teaches at a local strength club.
There's like so much more involved in it. That's why I say it's not just lifting a dumbbell. You're lifting a lot more than 25 pounds. With that bit of discipline comes a heck of a lot of freedom. Freedom to live this life that you envision for yourself.
What's the purpose of doing it? Just because I feel like it's let me move, I'll lose weight. But what are the actual benefits? Because not everyone's going to lose a ton of weight.
Mental health. You're actually moving blood. You're bringing oxygen to your brain. Sometimes getting outside and breathing fresh air, right? There are a lot of benefits to just moving. You name it, I think I've taught it. You can throw me up on a stage and ask me to teach anything and be like, got it.
She's incredibly fit. She's incredibly successful and just someone that really inspired me and I thought would be an amazing addition to the show. So Hollis, welcome to the show. Hello and welcome to the show. I have the pleasure of sitting down with Hollis Tuttle today. I'm super excited to bring, she's a powerhouse with so much knowledge, so much experience, and someone that truly inspired me. I actually met Hollis at a walk that we were doing about 2 years ago. And I just told her right before that she really, really inspired me because I'm not an extrovert. And she really just was so incredible in how she included everyone and made me feel like I was at home getting to know this new. The other thing is just getting to see her. She's incredibly fit. She's incredibly successful and just someone that really inspired me and I thought would be an amazing addition to the show. So Hollis, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here and to be able to have this really nice, real conversation with you and share it with all of your listeners.
Absolutely. And Hollis, tell us a little bit about just about you. I know you had a lot of movement and change in 10 years plus. And so just a little bit about your background.
Of course. Originally from Northern California. However, I now live in New York City and I've been on the East Coast now for over 10 years. I still feel like the ocean's on the wrong side, but I'll eventually get over that. I am in the wellness space, so I am a nutrition and fitness coach, and most of what I do is all digital, which is phenomenal because it allows for me to connect with people all over the world. And so I feel incredibly fortunate to have all of these platforms available.
I love that. I love that. And what's the name? The name of your company is House of, right?
House of Hustle. Yep.
House of-
Hollis's House of Hustle. I know it's a lot of H's, but it all goes together. So I used to teach on a digital platform, formerly known as The Mirror, which was then Lululemon Studio. And I was a hustler and I was always hustling and it kind of came from that. So it stuck with me and I can't now switch it up. That's who I am.
That's great. That's great. So just tell me a little bit about your just kind of your upbringing, what got you to get into fitness? Was it something that was part of your life all the time and how that evolved?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I have one older brother. He's about 3.5, 4 years older, depending upon the season. And the family joke was I was lucky to survive because he, I swear his life mission was to murder me. No, we love each other. We had a great conversation last night. All is good. But when you're young, things are a little crazy. So I've always been an outdoor kid. Grew up mountain biking, surfing, skateboarding, skiing, all of the things. I played soccer and then volleyball. And then when I went to school in San Luis Obispo, I tried to walk onto the volleyball team and the coach is like, "Well, you're way too small." So I pivoted, into triathlon, and I competed in triathlon all 4 years in college. And I was actually pre-med, but my degree is in nutritional science. So I really liked how those two obviously worked together, which is perfect. I finished my education in London And while there, I made the decision not to go on to medical school. I just had this like epiphany. I'm like, nope, it's not for me. And I wanted more business. So I went into real estate development and I did real estate development on the Central Coast for about 10 years. So I started off in the corporate office working as the assistant to the VP. And then I became a project manager. And then I was running construction sites for several years. And while doing that, I earned my sales license
Oh my gosh.
and I moved into the sales office. So I was selling new homes. While I was doing that, I earned my broker's license. Then I became the corporate broker. Then I moved back into the corporate office, but this time as a VP of sales and marketing. And I was running teams on the Central California as well as Southern California. And I was really unhappy. So my life on paper looked fabulous, right? I had this great earning potential, and I was actually meeting that potential. I owned several pieces of real estate. I drove a sports car, traveled all over the world, but I just didn't feel fulfilled. Even though I did enjoy what I do, I just felt like I wasn't living my purpose, to be quite honest. And at 30, I caught my quarter life crisis. I made another pivot and I moved down to San Diego and decided to do everything that would get me back into the wellness space, but I wanted to be on the front end rather than on the back end. So, really diving into my nutrition background and then focusing on my passion for movement and teaching all of the modalities. So, you name it, I think I've taught it. You could throw me up on a stage and ask me to teach anything and be like, "Got it. I'm Rome."
Wow. What just give me an example of some. I'm curious.
Indoor cycling was the first one I started with. I've done Pure Barre, Body Pump, Barry's Boot Camp, Orange Theory Fitness. Like, you just keep on going, right? And then I got married and moved to New York City, and, within the first year of being here in New York City, we were separated, and so I had to pivot again and rebuild my whole life, leaning in on the community that is so well established here in New York City. The fitness community is solid, and I just am so thankful for the people who I not only coached with, but also had the gift of coaching. You know, you really do become tight with the people who consistently show up to your classes, and that's one of the most beautiful things about it. So I started teaching at City Row and at Mile High Run Club,
Amazing.
and then I started teaching digitally for City Road Go, and then I was hired by Mirror to move into their digital platform, and the rest is kind of history.
Well, that's really cool. Oh my gosh, I love that you were able to be able to be in so many different platforms and get an understanding of everything so that you could probably help your clients with what works best for them.
Yes, exactly, and really gaining an understanding for what it feels like to be in a Barry's boot camp class, what it feels like to be in a Pure Barre class. Oh, I also teach yoga. So then
Yeah.
what it feels like to be in a yoga class and really understanding the different mindset, the different energy system. Like, so you can really play with a lot of that. And I think because I had so many years of experience inside a studio with real athletes, when I went behind the camera, I guess I would be in front of the camera, I could speak to it, right? Because I could know how things would feel. I would know like where people would lose like energy or where they start to feel a little fatigue. And so like I was able to really coach to that. And I loved being on camera, not because I was on camera, but
Yeah.
because we had this amazing outreach. So rather than having the opportunity to impact 30 people who are in
Yeah.
that class,
Yep.
I could impact thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people. And even though Lululemon Studio closed about 2.5 years ago,
Okay.
I still, on the daily, receive messages from members who have kept their membership alive. They've been doing my classes now just over and over again. And so, I mean, they're doing classes that are 4, 5, 6 years old. Unfortunately, the jokes are still the same. They could probably recite like everything that I said. I always like tell them you should just mute me and like put your own music on. But yeah, which is like such an honor and such a gift to receive those messages. It's
That's amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that. Going back, so you said something about the fitness community.
Yeah.
Is it the community being in New York City? Is it tight with those that are also running classes? 'Cause I noticed as I got like more involved, everyone knows everyone, and I started to meet all these people at these events. And I'm not part of that. I'm a executive coach and leadership trainer, but I got
Right.
to know a lot of people. Is that how it is in New York, and it was different than California or anyone else?
Yes.
In what
Very.
way? Oh, my.
I feel like in California, well, my experience on Central Coast and then in Southern California, one, people drive. People kind of have their home studios. People are like pretty focused in on those home studios. Where here in New York City, it's not uncommon to work at multiple locations, maybe for the same studio. Like for Barry's, right? They have multiple locations all over the city. So you're hustling around and you're interfacing with different people in different areas of the city. Or you may work at several different studios. So you may work at a Barry's, you may work at, Tone House, you may also then work at SLT, like, so then you have this amazing crossover between the different studios. And, New York City is, I mean, it is a city that never sleeps. It is the grind, right? And so it's like people are definitely doing that New York City grind. And I think that's a big part of it. So I think there's this like shared mutual respect
Hmm.
of like, we're all in this together. And
Yeah.
so I think that is kind of what like binds everybody together.
That's really awesome. And for what you've seen in the community, I'm just curious because I don't know if you have just an opinion on it or a thought. I have found that community is what is, and I found that through CrossFit community. I found it through community of raising funds for like the events that you and I were at that I met you. How can people find a sense of community when they are like leaders and they're burnt out, they're tired? Where might they find something like that? And is it like what would be like a first step if they just need support? Because I feel like
That's a good question. I think I would start with what they like to do. So if they like to run, try a run club.
yeah.
Try multiple run clubs. If they like to lift weights, try a strength club. I coach at a strength club. I love it. The community is amazing. And it's some of my like most favorite time. If you like to dance, take a dance class, right? Like I think that there's so much available. Just Google it, figure out where you can go, make a list, and then just go try it out and give each place maybe once or twice or three times because sometimes you just never know, right? Like,
Yeah.
depends on your mood, it depends on the energy of the class, it depends on the type of day, depends if you've eaten or not. Like, so, like, all of that's going to impact your experience. So, if you give it a couple of tries, I think then you'll have a much better understanding. Be like, oh, yeah, this is where I feel at home or where I feel like I could actually form a connection or like, okay, not for me, great for someone else, but not for me. And, I think that you just have to be a little bit more willing to put yourself out there and to experience something new and also to be humbled, right? Like, it's really, really important, I think, to be a newbie at something and to then have the opportunity to learn something new, to get a little bit better, like that feels really good. And, when you like leave a place or a space and you're kind of proud of yourself because
Yeah.
you did something hard or maybe you tried something that was scary and like you had fun and you got a little bit better. Like, I just think that that's such a gift that only you can give to yourself.
Oh my gosh. I did that last year. I went to a hip hop class and I'm a fairly decent dancer. I just haven't done it in a long time. And everyone was like, could have been my child. They were like half my age. And I had so much fun. I was very intimidated, but then it was such a growth for me. And I think that's it. It's just try something.
Yeah, be uncomfortable. Yeah. And like that, the same like growth is outside of your comfort zone. It's true. And it applies in a lot of different ways, not just like, oh, this is painful or this is uncomfortable. It's like, oh, this kind of makes me nervous.
It's totally, totally. And then for creating that type of like I feel like as the world just continues to change and shift, and there's AI, more technology, and more things like that. Like digitally, you can do things at home. What are your thoughts? I'm just curious on how you see fitness helping people get out of like isolation, right? For mental health too,
Mm,
mental and physical health.
I can speak to this personally. When Lululemon Studio closed,
Yeah.
I actually w- experienced like a serious depression. And that was a new sensation for me, to be quite honest. I loved that job and I was just devastated. And it was like I lost a dear friend in my life. And it really took me a while to get over that.
Yeah.
I was starting to build my own business, House of Hustle, and I wanted to build my business because I wanted to maintain connection with all of those people who I'd built a relationship with.
Mm.
And I didn't want to lose that, but I was at home by myself all day, multiple hours, and I realized that it was not a healthy place for me to be. And I needed to get back out into the community, and I needed to interface with real people, and so I actually reached out to my friends who own, the Fort here in New York City. It's a strength club,
Yeah.
and asked if they were looking for new coaches, and their hiring manager's like, "Yeah, we are. Do you know anybody?" And I was like, it's like, I need community. Like, I need real life community, you know? And so I only coach there a couple of days a week, but I do go to coach prep. All the coaches who coach there also do the workout. So we do the workout a week in advance so that when we are coaching it, we speak from that place of authenticity, which is amazing. Also allows us to give feedback. We can make modifications before we roll it out to our clients. So I love that fact. But when I'm in that space with my fellow coaches, we're all doing the workout together. It brings me so much joy. In fact, last Friday, I said that to like the 3 other coaches who I was with. I'm like, I'm just having the most fun. And granted, I am almost 50, and several of the coaches who I coach with are like mid 20s.
Oh, what? Yeah.
I'm hanging out with all these young kids, and sometimes I'll joke like I'm the mom of the group, like, someone has to be the mom and duck. But I love it, and I couldn't imagine not having them in my life. I couldn't imagine not having that time in my life, and yes, I love to train, and I love to strength train in particular. I love feeling strong, but I love doing that with other people who I just adore.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. So it's really okay. So that when did that happen, by the way? When was that time frame? With
When did
Lululemon?
I about 2.5 years ago?
Years ago. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
super interesting. And then for was there anything that happened during COVID too? Like how did that work for
Yeah,
isolation?
I was actually in a relationship during COVID. My ex-boyfriend and I lived together. We were together at that time. And I was teaching digitally. So I was able to go to set. I had a film crew. I had to work out. So I didn't have that same like separation or that same sense of despair. I was very, very fortunate.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Because I feel like that started things for many people, and there was such a benefit to that, right? Because fitness and wellness, nutrition was so accessible to everyone now that we have technology and online coaching, but there's
Yeah.
this part that how do you also supplement that with making sure you're around community with so many people working from home, right? So many people I mean, I understand even if you have family and stuff, but I think, I mean, like me, I live alone, so I have to try to find ways, CrossFit's my community, get out once a day, but then I need to find other outlets too, right? It's really important.
Exactly. I think it's really important. Yeah. And I think that's why we're seeing this growth in studios once again, right? Because people recognize the need. It is a need. It's a human need to actually be with other humans. And I think that there's always going to be a really important place for that other space, right? That third space. And I don't foresee it going anywhere anytime
Yeah.
soon.
I think we all thought online and then now, I mean, same with me as like doing leadership training, communication training. nobody wants online anymore. Everyone wants it in person. And I think that's it. It's the ultimate need is people want community and need community. I have friends that are going back to church that never went to church. Like they're just everyone's seeking out some way of connection that's missing with so much online.
Exactly. And that was one of the reasons why I have also led retreats, because we had this amazing community that was all digital, and they all spoke to each other on Instagram or on Facebook or through the Mirror app, or like they were all forming these amazing relationships years long, mind you. Like, you really do form this
So
like
cool.
tight relationship, but they never met themselves face to face. So
Yeah.
that was like the driving force to doing my House of Hustle abroads, so that then people could come together. And when I wanted to meet them in person,
Yeah.
selfishly, I wanted to give them like a real life hug, not a
Yeah.
virtual hug. And then they could meet each other in real life. And the first time that that happened, I think I mean, I cried all day, every day.
My God.
I love it.
Yeah, that connection, that it's such a real thing. I was at a, retreat, I think a couple years it was, like, 2 years ago. I went to, like, Don Saladino's retreat. I was not part of his programming, but I watched from afar the whole community who knew each other online. It was like, these people, like, only see each other, like, once every 2 years or never met, and it's wild. And I need to talk to you about your retreats too. I remember you're talking about them. I would
Yeah.
where do you do them?
I have done them in Costa Rica, DR. I did one in Utah.
Alright.
I used to work with a company called Seek Dharma, and they would handle all of the logistics, which was phenomenal. And I would then just showcase it, market it, right? Answer questions, get people signed up. And then once there, I was the host. So I was the one who was, leading the workouts and the meditation sessions and the journaling sessions, and, organizing the events. And I that's like what I love to do. So it was the perfect relationship, the perfect combination, but they are no longer doing that. So yeah, I need a new partner.
Oh. Alright, so we'll have to talk after because I would love to go to one of those. Oh my
Yes, exactly.
It's a cool opportunity to also, if you haven't met, right, just meet like-minded people because at least for me, not in the training space like that, it's like a way to meet other people that love to train and work out equally, which is great.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's wonderful. So another question for you when I'm sure a lot of your clients are high performers. Where do you see this or what just an opinion on it or your thoughts on it? I still try so hard to work with clients on the importance of their health and their mental health and they're just having that strong foundation because when work gets busy and stress happens and life changes and divorces and all the things happen, right? If that foundation isn't strong, everything falls apart. But for you, how like, I hear a lot, like, "I'll do that next year. I'll do that when I get the promotion. I'll get it when my kids are out of the house." And my one-on-one coachees, I'm like, "No, that's not an option." But what's your thought process to help people understand, like, not to wait? Or just what's your thought process?
I think really understanding why they're asking for my help. And so if I know what that why is, that's usually like the anchor, right? Like it takes a lot for somebody to reach out to me and ask for a personalized training program or a personalized nutrition program or both, right? And I am so much more than a fitness coach or than a nutrition coach. I am that whole entire wellness coach, and I love it and I respect it. And so I take that role very seriously. So as long as I build with the anchor, and that's always going to be the foundation,
Love it.
and then implementing habits that will help support success in obviously what we're working on first and foremost, right? So maybe we're training for a race, or maybe we're training for a family vacation, maybe we're training for overall health, right? Gaining strength, overcoming, osteoporosis, whatever it may be. But if we can then establish those habits to help make hitting those fitness goals, those nutrition goals possible, then that lifestyle becomes the routine, and then we can start to build more habits on top of that. Is it linear? No, you know that, right? Like, there are gonna be easy days, hard days, ups, downs, but it's just going back to those habits and reestablishing the habit, and then building upon that habit as much as possible, and then highlighting how good you feel when the habits are in place. So I like to come to things from a addition, not a subtraction mindset. So we're going to add strength, we're going to add muscle, we're going to add bone density. And if you happen to lose some body fat in the way, great. I am not one who's going to focus on, I'm going to get you down into a bikini in
Yeah.
time for your beach vacation. That's not powerful enough. Why?
Yeah.
It's too like flippant.
Yeah.
So if you can add on some muscle, guess what else you add on? Confidence. You add on an understanding that you can do hard things.
Yes.
You add on discipline,
Yes.
right? And then you recognize that with that bit of discipline comes a heck of a lot of freedom to live this life that you envision for yourself. So there's like so much more involved in it. That's why I say like it's not just lifting a dumbbell.
No.
You're lifting a lot more than 25 pounds. And so like I think that whether we're working with nutrition or whether we're working on the run program or a strength program, like that is always going to rise to the top. And I think too that sometimes it slips in and they might not even realize that it's in there. Like sneaking vegetables into the meatloaf,
Right.
you know? Uh, so, and also I think just like it has to come from them. Like it has to come internally. So it's like just asking those strategic questions.
Mm.
Like, oh my gosh, I saw that you slept 8 hours last night. How do you feel? Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing. Yeah, great. Like, how strong was your workout? Okay, let's remember that, right? So like the next time you're up and diddling around on your phone, remember, like you're just wasting time, you're wasting energy, and you're stealing that time from yourself. So like shut it down so like that's a gift you've just given yourself. That's amazing. Like give yourself that time back.
That's so great. I love that
Mhm.
almost. I love that. It's wonderful. If when you're working with some of your clients when they're I'm guessing maybe the ones that you start with, maybe not the ones that you worked with for a long time, the ones that are like exhausted, tired, can't find the time or can't find the time, they need to make the time is my thought process. What's like the minimum like effective dose? Like what is something someone's like, I can't find out. I have kids. I'm running around. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. What would you recommend for someone like, and I know there's so many factors, but like what might be something simple that they could do just to start building a habit? Is there like a strong habit that you recommend?
It all depends upon the client, like you said. Usually, I just want people to move more, and that may be a 10-minute walk, and it may be a 10-minute walk after lunch.
Yep.
What are you gonna work on for this week, right? So, even if you're at the office and you're eating your lunch at your desk because you don't have the time to go and do anything else, you have 10 minutes to walk after. Or, maybe your lunch is 15 minutes and your walk is 5 minutes. But you're established I don't care, maybe it's 2 minutes, but you're setting the intention, and I also have my clients put it into their Google Calendar or their Outlook calendar, whatever calendar it is that they use, and that way they get the little reminder, it's one more thing that they can check off, it's there, right, it's blocked out, then you can like, when you check something off and you get that, like, once again, momentum, sense of accomplishment, that's really, really powerful. So whether that walk was 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, they've checked it off. They've done something, they've proven to themselves that they can do it.
Yeah.
So it's usually just start small and we'll build from there. That's usually it. Like just looking at building in those small, simple things that will have the biggest impact.
I love that. So then that makes me want to ask you, is the 10,000 steps a day thing like a thing? Like
It
what
is, I think, a random number, and I can't remember. I think that a Japanese scientist,
I saw that.
don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's a Japanese scientist had somehow come up with 10,000 steps when they were doing some sort of, I'm not quite sure where it came from, but I know, like, obviously, if you can get up towards that 10K, that's great. But if someone is only walking 2,000 steps a day, 3 is better.
Threes.
4 is better, right? Like, sometimes that can be way too daunting. So if I had somebody come to me and we're looking at their average step count and they're maybe hitting that 2, maybe 2,500 on a good day, I am not going to ask them to do 10K because to go from 2 to 10 is absolutely like too far and daunting. So it's really easy to look at that and be like, oh, there's no way I'm not even going to try. And
Oh, yeah.
stem up for failure. There's no way we can do that. We're like, all right, awesome. We're going to build to that. We're going to have that in our game plan, right? But for the next 4 weeks, let's just try for 3. Let's see how many days a week you can hit 3. And remember, we're not going for perfection. We're going for like 80, 85%. If you can hit 90%. So let's say over the next 7 days, you hit 3,000 steps. Great. But what if you hit 3,000 steps 5 days a week? Oh, that's great. That's an extra 1,000 steps, times 5. That's 5,000 extra steps that you wouldn't have taken. That's a huge win. And you can do that same sort of breakdown in any discipline, whether it's physical or the nutrition or the sleep for that matter, right? Extra 10 minutes of sleep. That's a big difference. So
Oh, I love that. Okay, so that's really helpful to look at when you think of if someone's going to, let's say this just for the average person who is like, hey, either I do work out or I don't work out and I don't get enough movement in and I want to increase my step count. What would be the benefits, right? Because everyone says like move more, and then I think that's what happens in January. People make resolutions and then they're like, I only moved 2,000 steps. I'm going to do 20,000, and then they fail. But what's the purpose of doing it? Just because I feel like it's like, let me move, I'll lose weight. But like, what are the actual benefits? Because not everyone's gonna lose, I would think, not everyone's gonna lose a ton of weight. Maybe they will, but
mental health.
okay.
Well, you're actually moving blood, you're moving oxygen through your body, you're bringing oxygen to your brain, sometimes getting outside and breathing fresh air, right? Like there are a lot of benefits to just moving and getting your joints moving. You're using your muscles. Like there are so many benefits involved in just moving. Like it doesn't have to even be like you can, if you can't, let's say you can't walk very far, maybe you just stand up and you do like 10 squats and then you do 10 reverse lunges on one leg and 10 reverse lunges on the other leg. And you've lubricated your joints, you've used your muscles, you've elevated your heart rate a little bit. Like, and that's going to be incredibly beneficial. So once again, it's like that little bit is still better than nothing. Does that like answer what?
That does answer it. I know. I think there's some like blood sugar impacts too that people don't really think. Can you explain that? Just so people like know why you
Like
did it.
moving after you eat, for example. So then you're going to be utilizing the glucose that you just ingested. So then your body is going to be shuttling that glucose to the muscles that are working, right? So you're actually like utilizing that energy that you're ingesting. You're giving it a place to go and a purpose. So it also helps with your digestion too. Things are going to move through your system a lot better and more efficiently. So like that little 10-minute walk after mealtime is such a great way to help just boost the metabolism, right?
Yeah, that's wonderful. I love that.
Yeah.
That's super helpful because I know like everyone says like more like move more, and it's like, well, why move more? And I think there's so many just big broad terms as to why, and the simple ones of why you should do it after you eat instead of sitting on the couch because of what you ate might make you want to do that, and that's
Right.
opposite of what we should do. What are some other things just that you've seen, even like success stories of just working with clients that you've had, like maybe some big successes in doesn't even have to be in, like, how they physically look, but sometimes I think the outcome can be personal confidence.
Yes. I've trained up clients to run their first marathon. That was amazing. I've trained up clients to qualify for Boston, which is always in me.
That is.
Clients for 29,029, which is always amazing. Like these are really, really big goals, right? And it's like it's phenomenal to be able to support somebody working hard and achieving those really, really big goals. But I think more importantly, it's helping the mom reconnect with who she is and reestablish her identity. Most of my clients are in their 30s to 40s and are professional. So it's like they finally have this time. The kids are a little bit older. Some of them may be high school, college age or around there. They now have the time, the desire, the finances to invest back in themselves. And so it's helping them reestablish their strength, their energy, their wellness, their confidence, right? And doing a push up,
Yeah, right.
doing a pull up, like those are huge wins. And I hold those goals just as high as the marathon or just as high as the 29:029. Yeah.
So great. So great. Oh my gosh, the marathons. And you've done probably several marathons.
I've done several marathons. I have run more ultra marathons than marathons. Yeah. So I spent several years running trail ultras all over the United States. Yeah.
And I think you told me that too. You run quite a bit. Is it how much do you run per week?
Well, currently I am dealing with a hamstring injury, so I am down to 0 at the moment, which has been a whole new learning experience for me. But it depends if I have a racer on the calendar. So I did my last race May of 2025. I raced in Nick Bear's Last Man Standing down in Austin, Texas.
Amazing.
And I ended up doing 12 hours on the course, so it covered 50 miles, and then I ended up in the medical tent. Dehydration took me out. It wasn't how I wanted to end, but still proud of
Amazing.
how I should be. And I before that, I mean, I have so many.
Oh my gosh. So when you can run, you run often. When you can. I hope you're
I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
mentally, I feel like you're just in a different place. It's like such a I don't know how to explain it. It's awesome.
I love the independence of it, like feeling like my own 2 feet can carry me where I wanna go, and I specifically love trail running because I just love being out in the trees and, running through the wilderness and, you know, it's so beautiful and it really does feel like I'm at one with Mother Nature. It's a little harder here in New York City to find that. You can imagine. Yeah, exactly. But, it's like I'm right now I'm walking. I have been cleared to walk a half an hour at a time, so that's what I'm doing.
Right.
And it's like just focusing on what I can do and what I rather than what I can't do,
Yeah.
adding on and not subtracting.
Yes. I love it.
To try to like maintain my sanity. Am I great at it? Some days are easier than others, not gonna lie. But that's okay. It's just a season of my life that I happen to be in. And so, when I think about it, it just gives me that much more compassion and understanding and more tools in my toolbox that I can help clients with. So too. Yeah.
That's so great. That's so great. Um, so a question for you, you probably hear this a lot, but I feel like just with all the there's so much noise in the like fitness space. I feel like it's just so much. Like you're someone that like I totally respect and know that like what you put out there is incredible, but then you have like these newer people that are just coming out and like confusing the average person to think they have to do all or nothing or like go hard or go home and do this because this worked for me and I know how much a personalized approach it is. What do you recommend for especially for women? I feel like for women like we've, just growing up, right? We were watching had magazines of the perfect body, it was be skinny, now it was like big butt, big this, big that. Now everything's skinny again, and women struggle and young girls struggle. Like, how do they filter that noise out?
It is so hard.
Right?
I try to stay on top of the socials and on top of the trends
Yeah.
because my clients ask me a lot because they're bombarded by so much, like you said, so much noise, and it is overwhelming. And nutrition is a new science, and it's always evolving. So I can understand why there is so much confusion around it. And just like with fitness, I think, as you said, it is a very personalized approach, but it's like the basics are the basics for a reason.
Mm.
Sleep,
Yeah.
nutrition, like, try to eat as whole food as you can. If you have some ultra processed food in there once in a while, that's fine. Like, there's always gonna be a sliding scale. There's always gonna be, like, a good, better, best, and sometimes we're gonna be in good or maybe less than good. But if we could be mostly in, like, better or best a majority of the time, then we're doing great, right? Like, so then just I think strength training is incredibly important. Obviously, we want to have the ability for once again it comes back to independence and you want to be able to, you know, carry your groceries home,
Yes.
put your luggage in the overhead compartment, right? Like, pick your child up off the floor. If you've fallen, I want you to be able to get up off the ground,
Yeah.
So, like, I want my clients, I want everybody to be these strong, resilient humans. Do you need to look ripped and, like, super muscular? No, that's not a requirement, but I want you to be able to live life long, but live life well and long, So I think a really, really important thing to remember
Yeah.
that we're lifting for those longer years. I know it's hard when we're 20 and we're like, "Oh my gosh, 40 is gonna be so old." And now I look back and I'm like, "Oh, I would love to be 40 again." And I'm not saying that because, like, I feel old at 50. It's just I'm recognizing that at this age, my body takes a little bit longer to recover. I can't really train at that, same volume as I once did. That's okay. I'm adjusting, I'm learning, I'm manipulating the way that I do things and live my life. But, I think stick with the basics. And then find 1 or 2 people who you really trust, admire, and, like, build a rapport with them, and take the time to ask questions and to learn. Like, it's like there is a lot of information out there, but just, like, take time to ask. Yeah.
I love that. That's great. Yeah. So one of the, and that is probably the positive about social media, right? Is that there's so much about strength training that wasn't out before, and you see these younger girls doing it, which is amazing. I love that. I love seeing younger everyone doing it and starting. And then this just came up because you're bringing this up, but recommendation, because I find this with friends, with people I talk to, and we all have what's worked for us, right? It's like, okay, CrossFit worked for me for a really long time. Now I'm like kind of dialing it back. I'm doing really strength training, but I wouldn't recommend that to someone because that's how my body, and I'm still trying to figure out what's best for me now at this season of life. And I do feel like we're so inclined to want to help people, just not as trainers, but just the average person. What would you suggest for people to kind of hold back on, like, what's worked for you, because it won't work? They need to hire a professional like you to really know what's going to work for them. That's just the reality.
I think just say that. I found this really worked for me.
Yeah.
It may work for you, it
Work
may
for you.
not, right? But I think it all depends upon what someone's goals are.
That's it.
So then if you can find somebody who has similar goals or who has achieved what it is that you would like to achieve, that may be a roadmap that you could use as a guide.
Yeah.
But every single human is going to respond to the same stimulus in a different way. And that stimulus could be the training or it could be the food, right? It could be the recovery. Some people respond to sleep differently than other people. Some people respond to carbohydrates differently than other people, right? So it's like a little self-experiment, and you kind of have to use yourself. And I think just being more aware how you're feeling when you are trying something new, and then not being afraid to adjust it if it's not working.
I love that.
And if someone says, this is the only way, or you can't do this, you can only do this, like when someone's talking in those really hard lines,
Yeah.
I think you should definitely have a little warning sign.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. You're right. I just see it so much. It's like, you just do this and it'll work for you. Yeah, I'm talking about, again, non-professionals. And it's like, that's not necessarily going to work for you. As like years ago when I was very like light on carbs, I never really ate carbs a lot. And then I had everyone tell me, you need carbs, you do CrossFit. And I was like, I'm gaining weight. This isn't working for me. Like, so I'm like, I can't listen to the noise. So I'm pushing it out. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be a lot of noise. And I think too, it's important to have input, right? I'd ask somebody if they would like to if they would like some advice. People like to share a lot. They like to tell you what
Yes.
to do and why,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And wait till someone asks you. That would be my advice.
That's what I was getting at. Thank you, Hollis.
There's a big difference between, hey, I really saw you, you've made this really cool life change. I noticed that you're walking every morning. I wanted to know, why are you walking every morning? And, how much are you walking? And what have you noticed? Right. Like, and then the walker can say, oh, I started walking because, I want to increase my steps. I find that in the morning, it makes me feel really good. Like I start my day. It's awesome. Right. That's so different than running into your neighbor or friend and be like, you should walk 10,000 steps a day. Why? Because I said so. Totally different messaging. Right? Totally different fact.
Unsolicited advice versus someone actually wanting it.
Yes, exactly. And that applies to all things in life.
Oh my God. All things, you're right. All things in life. There's so many things where people are like,
Yeah.
I get the question all the time. When are you gonna get married? I'm like, I don't know how to get to that. I'm like, I'm like, that's hysterical. That's hysterical. So yeah, that's exactly where I was getting at. So thank you for clarifying that. I'm curious for you, like when you have this, we talked about you being like a type A and like a you're I feel like I'm the same exact way. What does hustle mean to you now? Like has it shifted for you
Mm.
in this time of life?
Hustle does include downtime. Just so you know, I definitely need to have my quiet time, my downtime, my recovery time so that I can have my high time and my intense times, right? Like you can't have one without the other. So my hustle definitely includes my quiet early mornings
Love it.
and my sauna and cold plunge. I love that. And my early bedtimes, my
What
chamomile tea.
time you see bedtime, Hollis?
Yes. So I'm always going to have the movement part of the hustle down, but I'm also going to include the downtime. And then that also includes relationship time, family, friends, loved ones. Like that's an incredibly important part of living a healthy lifestyle as well. Those relationships are very near and dear to my heart, and I don't want to lose that.
I love that. It's so important. That's funny you say that too, because I found one of my best friends, we would like meet up to get dinner and I was like, I really don't want to be going out to eat anymore. And we started replacing that with walks. So usually we'll like do something. Yeah. And then this week, same thing with my parents. I was like, I just want to spend more time with them. And I just asked them, like, can we meet? And they're like, yeah, let's meet at the canal. And we had like an amazing walk for, an hour and a half. And then we went to dinner after. And it was being able to recharge by relationships and movement, which was so awesome.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And it usually is nice too. It's like when you're out on a walk together doing something like that, most likely not looking at your phone,
Nope.
and you're actually like having a real conversation and you're there
Right.
and you just feel that like sense of warmth, that sense of fullness that you can't really get from anywhere else, you know? I feel so fortunate in that I grew up around the dinner table.
Ah,
And that was always a really, really important part of my family's
yeah.
existence.
Mhm.
Both of my parents came from families who always sat at the dinner table together. And so that was something that was always instilled in our family. And, when you're, young, you don't realize what a positive impact that has. And both my older brother and I, we always had friends ask you to come over for dinner. Can we go to your house for dinner? Can we go? And, like, yes, my parents were great cooks. We always had really, delicious food. It was always really healthy food. But I think it's just the time of family, that togetherness. And that was something that I think that I tried to replicate wherever I go. That same vibe, that same energy, and no matter what it is, that's like I really wanna, like, welcome people into my home, around my dinner table. So whether it's, like, teaching class on camera or we're at a retreat in DR or I'm on the strength floor at the fort or I'm in yoga class, it's like I try to bring that same mentality. It's like, "You're at my house." Like,
Nice.
you may not remember what I said, you may not remember the poses, you may not remember the music, you may not remember, the exercises, but if you remember that I made you feel good, then I've done my job. I'm like, "Okay, I have fulfilled my purpose."
I love that. Was that part of, like, House of Hustle? Was coming up with the name?
Part of it, yes, because it's like, "You're
Yeah.
coming over to my house." Yeah,
That's so cool.
thank you, yes.
I was like, "Wait, it sounds like"
Yeah, you're coming over to my house, hanging out with me. We're gonna eat
Oh,
frozen
yeah.
cherries and we'll watch TV.
I say love
Yeah, so it's a big part of it.
I guess if you were to give some advice, if actually here, I'm gonna before I ask for like close out questions. I have a question about like when was there a really hard time for you and like what advice would you give to someone? How did you get out of it? My guess again is going to be some movement had to do with that, but what was like a tough time? Is I feel like so many people who like are so successful like you and driven, most people see them like they have it all together, but we all have had these tough times and people need to hear that we can also get out of it. There's ways we can do that.
I've had several. One that I actually feel is a gift to share. When I was newly married, I could not get pregnant naturally, and I went through in vitro fertilization, so IVF, and it was fairly new then. Once again, I am almost 50, and when I first started going through treatment, I was 35. So, much different time, and people didn't talk about it as openly. So, I felt like it was something that I was doing on my own and behind closed doors, and also my ex-husband didn't want me to talk about it, so I felt like I owned a lot of that, and I went through about 3 years of treatment, so 12 egg retrievals, 9 transfers, none of them successful, and it was, like, the first time in my life that I was doing everything right, right? I was showing up, I was doing the work, I was healthy, I was, following all the protocols by my doctors, and no matter what I did, I could not get the result that I wanted, and it was incredibly, incredibly challenging, and, finally, after on my 12th retrieval, I remember I was driving to the doctor's office for my blood work, and I was just in a state of utter despair and depression, and I remember I was driving in the fast lane, and I used to drive a little sports car, and I was going about 100 miles an hour, and I thought, "All I need to do is turn left into the center divide. That's all I need to do." So,
Oh my gosh. Oh,
when whew, ha, um, when I showed up at my doctor's office in utter tears because I didn't think I would make it there, instantly they're like, "Oh, okay, we're done." Right? So, I ended up getting estrogen at that point, which helped alleviate all of this. And, they sent me home in an Uber because 'cause they're like, "You're not driving home." And I decided at that point that was it. Like, that's it. I'm not doing that again.
yeah.
I'm not destined to have, you know, a child inside my belly. I'm like, "That's fine." So I had to overcome that and come to peace with that. And, I'm now grateful that I don't have
Mm,
children. Like, I love the life that I live. So I have dealt with that piece, but for me, regaining my strength helped me overcome that because it reminded me of the things that I still can do. And in addition to going to the gym and lifting weights, I then could go out and trail run. I then could go out and climb mountains. I then could go so, like, it had this snowball effect, and so that's why I think I always go back to, it's so much more than lifting weights. You just don't realize how it impacts other aspects of your life. So I share that because I know there are so many women, so many families who go through something incredibly similar. And
yeah.
so it's good to know that people now talk about it and it's so much more out in the open, but it doesn't make it any easier. And
Right.
so if I can be that like reminder that
Oh my gosh.
okay.
And Hollis, thank you so much for being so vulnerable and sharing that. I not a doubt that will help because I know there's so many people that struggle with it. And what when you said that, that was fascinating to me. I never would have thought, right? You're an athlete, you're doing all the right things, and it's like you feel like it's on you and it has nothing to do with you have nothing, no control over it, right? And I'm sure so many people judge themselves and feel like it's them and it's not. And what a powerful example of just like inspiration and you went and found strength elsewhere, which is amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. And so advice for like the busy professional. And then I want to say like advice to the I don't even want to say the age range, but like anyone
that is
I'm in my late 40s too, so like, or I'm almost there. So I'm like anything for like 20s, maybe not 20s, but like 30s and 40s, like working professionals who I think you and I both find them at least that where they're just like it's just again, it's next year I'll do this, next year I'll have fun, next year I'll get married, next year I'll do and like what advice would you say based on like an amazing life that you continue to live? Like you're thriving, which I think is so inspiring. Like thriving is where we're thriving.
why wait? Like there's no reason to wait. And every day is a gift. Like I can't say that enough. Every day that we wake up is a gift and we don't get today back. And I know it sounds so cliche, but it's like that's where you have to like make the most out of every day, right? People end up living for like the vacations they have in 2 weeks or for, that big goal that's coming up in 6 months. But what about today? Like you could still make today great. And like you have that ability to get out of bed and to make that day great? So like I think it's really important to remember that you have a lot in front of you and you can, smile at the doorman when you walk out the door or like say good morning, to somebody who you walk by on the street and like start to like spread those good vibes and, maybe you go grab like a lunch with a friend that otherwise you would have put off and just adding a little something each and every day to make that day special
I love
and
it.
so that you're living life and you're not postponing life. I mean, I just can't say that enough. And I don't know if that just comes from having like, I wish I would have done that to, no way, I'm so glad I did that. I don't know. I think, yeah, live the day.
Live the day. And it sounds like gratitude is, I know that's been life changing for me. There's so much to be grateful for. I'm assuming you have like a gratitude practice or it's probably so normal like now for
Well,
you.
I write in a gratitude journal every day.
Okay.
I have had the same gratitude journal now for years. Intelligent Change, I love them, and I really do like. I just feel this immense sense of gratitude, and like it's even when I was taking yoga last week, and I can barely do yoga right now, but I was just grateful to be in that space, to be on my mat, and to be sharing in breath with those around me. I'm just grateful to be here right now, and I'm grateful for the breath that I have in my body. And so when you leave class, it's like, I'm really lucky. I feel really good versus, oh, I can't believe I can't do down dog, you know? Because then you're like creating this negative energy and then you're like carrying that negative energy with you and then you're spreading that negative energy around and it's like you have a choice.
Literally your choice. You're
Yeah.
1,000% right. How you're gonna
So
show up.
that's how I feel.
I love it. I love it. We're on board. So I love hearing the similar messages, which is a beautiful thing. So
And
let's
don't discount yourself, don't discount yourself and like everyone has something really special to share and like don't worry about being weird and don't worry about being silly like we're all humans. We're all weird and silly. Like, that's just part of the human condition? So, like, just let it go.
I love it. I love it. And then for what's next for you for 2026? What's on the radar?
Well, I'm still, building House of Hustle, taking on new clients, and I would love to have another retreat in the books. I just would really, really like to have something coming up that I can share with everybody and more travel. Yeah, trying out a few more recipes.
Ah, I love it. You cook a lot, I'm assuming, yeah.
I like to say I prepare. I make up most of my meals at home, breakfast, lunch, dinner. I do usually have 1 or 2 meals out.
Okay.
That way I can control
Yeah.
what I eat.
Yes.
Nutrition is obviously incredibly important to me, but one, I prefer it. I prefer to know what I'm eating. I prefer to know that I'm giving myself the best nutrients that I can. And so, yeah, I pretty much like sheet pan
Right.
everything's at 400 degrees. I have a client who's a professional chef, and she's just like, "I don't know how you do it." I'm like, it's like I put things in at different times, so it's all at 400 degrees. She's like, "Okay." You just, you know, salt and pepper my bucket. I know, it's awful.
Hey, you're eating it as long as you like it. That's all that matters. Oh my gosh, that's great. That's great. And then people can go on your I'll definitely put in the show notes. I'll put your website, your Instagram.
Instagram is really the best place to get a hold of me. Yeah, I'm on Instagram and I have plenty of links there.
So much great content on there.
So anytime. Yeah.
Wow, that is so awesome. So fabulous. And just, yeah, you put out such great content. So for the audience, definitely follow her on Instagram. I'll put everything in the show notes and the clips. And Hollis, it was an absolute pleasure. And I'm so grateful just for the time spent. And I know my audience will hear messages that will sit those nuggets, right? You end up impacting other people. They remember something you said. And thanks for just being so transparent and so gracious.
Well, thank you. I hope that the messages do land. And thank you again for the opportunity. This has been such a pleasure. So I appreciate it very much.